Good afternoon. I'm supposed to have a clicker with me. I'm just trying to find where it is. Yes, there it is. You did a good job, yeah. Good afternoon. As I've been introduced, Prashant here. I am the Vice President and Head of Global Cloud Compliance at Cisco. I am based in San Jose, California. That's where our headquarters are. And today's topic is for me to talk about a collaborative approach to security, compliance, and engineering. So if you were to ask me 10 years ago, can you talk about a collaborative approach between these three orgs plus more? I would say, what is that? Is there really a collaborative approach? Sounds to me like the Atlantis, the Shangri-La, the mystical land which everyone knows existed, but no one knows where it is. Right? Hopefully some of you can resonate with me. That's what most of the organizations feel like. There is no way that there can be a collaboration between these three orgs and more and get to the common objective. There is always some friction, competing priorities. It can never be achieved. And that's fair. I mean, that's the truth. That's what is going on. That's the reality in this industry. So what I'm going to do in the next few minutes is basically walk you all through a journey, a story of what happens in these sort of situations. How exactly do organizations and groups within organizations come across or come to this point where this friction starts to generate and sustain, and what can be, if possible, be done to eliminate that friction. I have a lot of animations in my slides, and I have to click this properly, and I have to coordinate my talk track and the animation, so hopefully I can do that, so please bear with me. All right, let's get started. Let's think about a typical day in the lives of a sales team and a product engineering. You are at the SekuroKon, so I'm sure that you all deal with a SaaS organization in some form or shape, either as a customer or you are an employee there, or you may be running it, if you know, yeah, so something like that. But product engineering here, when I say product engineers, I'm referring to the engineers who are writing that code on a day-to-day basis, which builds that application that they offer to the customers. On a typical day, this is what it looks like. We are an organization based in US. That's where our headquarters are. So product engineers, they're doing their day-to-day job. Sales leads, let's say from US, come to the product engineering team and they say, oh, huge opportunity. We got to build this stack compliant with FedRAMP. Anyone familiar with what FedRAMP is? Yes, I see a few nods. Yeah, compliant with FedRAMP. If you do that, huge opportunities. Money will just start flowing in. Fantastic news. Who doesn't like that? Everyone likes that, right? But that's not where it stops. Right behind the US sales lead are our sales leads from Australia. I'm in Australia, so I had to put this slide here, right? So we do business in Australia. I've been told there is a Cisco office here somewhere, right? So yeah, this is my first time to Sydney, and I've been told there is an office, so I hope there is one. So the Australian sales lead come right behind and they say, yeah, huge opportunity. Engineering folks, we got to build this application, sell it in Australia. Money will start flowing in. Let's do it. Fantastic. Again, great news, right? Who doesn't want increasing revenue? But that's not the end of it. Right behind them is our sales team, let's say from Japan. And if you are like a global company like us, then you will have the EU sales lead, the Asia Pac sales lead, and you name it. Like wherever you're running business, the sales leads from those organizations, those geos will come in and say that we got to do it. We have to build our application and sell in those markets because the opportunity is huge. most of the times, the way industry is evolving, the way regulatory landscape is evolving, this is not just getting a certification, this is actually building an application stack with data localization. Okay, so there is engineering effort needed. This all sounds great. Like in the picture, I'm sure like what caught your eyes, like what caught my eyes was there are all dollar signs here, right? Who doesn't like more dollars, right? This is great. But wait, there's more. Right behind these folks are our product management org. The product management org now walks into the product engineering team and says, you guys already have an application that you're selling to the customers, but customers now need these additional features, functionalities, improved capabilities. And if you do that, there's more dollars flowing in. So you got to do that. You have to maintain your product and keep releasing additional features onto it. Lot of asks, right? Is that the end of it? No, it's not. Because right behind them are our friends from the security org, okay? And they come in and say that this is great. You have a product up and running, but you have security bugs in there. You got to fix these bugs. If you don't fix these bugs, we'll get hosed, okay? And if we get hosed, it's not just lack of revenue, lack of reputation. No one likes that. My God, okay? So all these are the competing priorities with each other, but they're all valid. They're all valid. So our friends here in the product engineering team, they see that dollar opportunity. They see the revenue opportunity. They see the competitive advantage. It exists. It's all valid reason for the engineering org to do all this work. However, there is a challenge. The challenge is competing, conflicting priorities. If you are associated with an organization to the scale of which how we run Cisco, or maybe larger, maybe smaller, the root cause of competing priorities is resourcing and bandwidth. You only have limited resources. You only have limited engineers. They can only do so much. All these are valid priorities, but they can only do so much. Okay? They can only expend their time, invest in, prioritize, and deliver or commit to. If you're in the engineering org, you probably know the word commits, right? They can only commit to getting some of these stuff done, either a sales ask or a security ask or an engineering feature ask. So, 3 different asks, competing priorities, all have tangible benefits to it. But if I were to classify these conflicting priorities into 3 different buckets, I would put them, first things first is, we got to do something. This is from an engineering perspective. They have to do something in terms of executing on certain tasks which can be utilized as test once and apply once, multiple times. Meaning, can they do something wherein they invest in a product feature or a functionality or some sort of a security update? They do it once, but they can achieve multiple certification objectives across the globe, ultimately leading to additional increased revenue. That's the first challenge. Second one is they have to find bandwidth. They have to find bandwidth for the engineering orgs to investing in and getting better features and functionalities out. That's the second challenge. The third one is they have to implement or fix the security bugs. Okay? SekuroKon, security in there. I can tell you for sure that nobody likes security bugs. Nobody does. If you do like, you're probably in the wrong conference right now. Yeah. So you guys know these challenges. And this is where, this is no longer a fictional story. When I joined Cisco 3 years ago, this was the challenge we were facing. Expanding across the globe, transitioning from a hardware-only company to a hybrid SaaS service provider. I'm sure like many of your own organizations, competing priorities, market opportunities exist. How do we do it? Okay? How do we do it? How do we prioritize it? And the question was, they're all tangible asks, tangible requirements, has to be done. So engineering team would go around the organization, internally, externally also. Can someone help? Can someone help of how to do this, right? So that we can invest in certain priorities, but get more output than what we have been getting so far. So I think one of the best teams suited in an organization who can help in these sort of in these sort of situations is the security compliance team. Okay, I'll tell you in a few minutes why. Okay, at Cisco, when this problem came up, we realized that we have global markets, like US was coming up with FedRAMP, which was codified into a law. Spanish ENS, if you do business in Spain, you know this, like ENS is no longer a nice to have. It is required to not only get new opportunities, but even to maintain your existing contracts. You guys in Australia, so you know about IRAP. Japan did something similar with ISMAP. And it's happening globally. India is coming up with something on their own. So what we did was, at that point, we said, let us look at it into break them down into those 3 problem statements that I mentioned, which first one was get one thing done in terms of certifications and get multiple certifications at the same shot. Second was getting bandwidth back to the engineering team so that they can invest in engineering priorities and get engineering efforts and features releases done on a timely basis. And third was security bug fixes. To that effect, we came up with 3 different solutions, 3 different tracks of solutions. The first one was Cloud Controls Framework. It's a Cisco homegrown solution. Fundamentally, it is nothing different than a common controls framework, but this one was tailored within Cisco by looking at the markets that we already exist in, we are doing business in, and we want to expand in. Then we looked at the various certifications and requirements in this market. So if you look at this slide and go from the very left to right, you'll realize that on the left-hand side, there are around 13 different certifications. Some are global, some are very specific to a certain country or a geo. And if we add just these 13, and these 13 are a subset of where we actually do business, but if we add all these 13, there are uniquely, within each certification, 3,600 odd requirements, if we add those up. Now, before we had a common approach to getting certifications at Cisco, the product teams would go through each one of these like in a sequential manner. They would get SOC 2 first, then start off with ISO, then IRAP, then ISMAP, then FedRAMP. And sequentially, as you're going through this, the engineering team is going quarter after quarter after quarter through the compliance fatigue, the security fatigue. And at one point, they're like, okay, this is not what you guys hired us for. We are hired here to build features and functionalities, write code for features and functionalities. Why are we even doing this? So to overcome that challenge, what we came up with is this framework. If you look at these 3,600 odd controls, we boiled them down to a certain set of control requirements, approximately 280-ish control requirements. And in essence, the theory was that if a product team implemented these 280 controls, they will be able to achieve all these 13 certifications in one audit. Okay? But then at Cisco, I'm sure this also resonates with you guys, we have approximately 70 different generally available SaaS offers. Do all these 70 need to meet all these 13 certification requirements? Most likely not. Maybe some of them have a business opportunity in Australia, some of them do not have. So the next step was like, let's prioritize, like which product needs which certification. However, there has to be some set of certifications or compliance requirements which apply to the whole organization at Cisco. That's where we realized that of these 284 control requirements, we don't need all of them for our product teams to implement. We further boiled it down into a baseline set of controls, again, tailored to our infrastructure, tailored to the technology that we use, and came up with a list of 100 controls as baseline and implemented it across the organization. Irrespective of which product team it is, they have to implement these 100. By association, they will be able to achieve SOC 2 and ISO 27001. And if they have to do ISMAP or IRAP or any additional incremental certification, it becomes an incremental effort for them, meaning they've already halfway through. Okay? So the remaining work becomes an incremental effort. That's what we did with CCF. Again, this is the first solution to the first problem. This is the solution to the first problem, wherein a single set of framework of controls, because of which, if these are implemented once And of course, we got this vetted with our audit partners. We got this vetted with our regulators as well. So they all aligned with it. And when we go through audits, we most of the times take our product team through one set of audit. And the audit firms, either one audit firm or multiple audit firms, whoever are auditing, issue multiple reports utilizing that single audit. I've highlighted IRAP here. IRAP is a part of CCF. I'm here at SekuroKon. I'm not a salesperson. This framework, I'm not selling any service here. This framework is at Cisco is open sourced. We have publicly open sourced this framework. We keep it updated as and when new regulations are published, or as and when we go through our experience of getting a new certification, we update this framework and we open source it. This year, we are planning to open source not just this framework, but some automation scripts that can be implemented. So please take a look. I have a link at the very end if you're interested. Then that was CCF. Then the second problem, as I mentioned, was how do we give bandwidth back to the engineering teams? This is where we basically implemented an operational security stack. The objective was create a shared responsibility within the organizations. What are engineers best capable to do? They're hired to code and develop the best-in-class products, right? The best code for best features and functionalities. That's what their job is. Most of times when you hire DevOps engineers, if they're not SecOps, they don't even know about security. DevOps doesn't know about security much, okay? So whose job is to run security or SecOps? It's security team, right? There's a few CISOs in this room, so I'm sure you will agree to this. Yeah, it's security team's job. So in this model, what we did was we created a shared responsibility wherein if a product team had to go implement a certain application stack for a certain geo, because most of the regulations, in fact, all of them at a minimum, 50% of these requirements in any certification you go out there are security and IT operational requirements. So why does the engineering team have to do it? They're not even trained to do it. You don't even hire them to do it. What we did at Cisco was we created a set of security and IT capabilities, parallel stacks of these capabilities, one for commercial, one for federal. Okay, depending on whichever geo we are in. And in this stack, we had the security org make available a set of security capabilities for our engineering orgs to subscribe to. As a result of which, when our product team starts subscribing to this stack, be it in US, be it in Australia, be it in any country for that matter of fact, the journey to the certification is significantly reduced. When we looked at the tangible numbers, the journey to certification like FedRAMP was cut in half for us. Significant time saving, and the time saving is given back to the engineering teams so that they can now focus on whatever they do best, which is building the best-in-class features and addressing the product management requirements. Last but not the least, the third problem which I mentioned was around building or fixing security bugs. This is where, again, a very high-level illustration of what security bugs or areas, or security bugs, what areas they usually are in. Vuln management, identity access management. I think if I take the last 15 breaches in 2023 or 2022 and I throw a rock at them with my eyes closed, I'm sure like 5 of the 6 times it will hit because of some identity and access management misconfiguration. Yes, so what we did was, as we were building CCF and the security stack, we made sure that these requirements are baked into that stack, as a result of which it is not a reactive thought, but it is more proactive. Product releases cannot happen without fixing all these things. This is all done through automations and various scripts that we have built in, and security stack and CCF themselves are addressing these requirements. Ultimately, what did this lead to? We have solutions in place. Still an ongoing journey. Yeah, I won't say we have found Shangri-La or Atlantis yet, but we know that we're getting close, okay? We're on our journey. The main thing to realize and always make sure that the engineering function understands this very well is that compliance, security and compliance, to be very specific, is an ongoing journey. Make sure that they're aware of it. There is no one time where you are at an end goal, okay? So, and tying this back to the theme of resiliency, my opinion is that security and compliance and resiliency are like every time something bad happens, sometime your disruption happens and your business is down. How fast can you bring the business back up? But are you bringing it back up to the same level of security, compliance, products, features, and functionality that you used to provide before the disruption? That's what resiliency is. That's why it's important for your engineering teams to know from you that compliance is an ongoing journey. In essence, this led to us exploring more markets, further opportunities, and of course, more dollars, right? Yeah. With that, I'm coming to my last slide here. We have a few content available. These are all publicly available content on our Trust page. CSAFE is also open source and publicly available. Thank you all.